Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy. And thank you so much for joining me for it. So 2 weeks from now, on August 29th, the short story collection in celebration of the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, which is also called From a Certain Point of View, is hitting stores and online stores and just any store where you can buy books. Now, I'm still in the middle of reading this, and thank you very much to Penguin Random House for sending me a review copy in advance to check out. There are no spoilers in this episode. I just want to say something about the tone of the collection so far as I'm going through it. It really is kind of fascinating in its way, and I don't know if this is so much about the stories themselves or about just my own experience, but the way that I'm reading this and the way that I read the short stories for the collections for the original Star Wars and for The Empire Strikes Back, they really are kind of reflective of the movies that they are. You know, the original Star Wars could be said to be very straightforward in its storytelling, and then you have The Empire Strikes Back, which gets a lot deeper and more serious, and then you have Return of the Jedi, which is really kind of a romp, basically, when you think about it. I mean, everybody knows that that story has to end well, basically, and we haven't had the heroes together for, you know, the entirety of The Empire Strikes Back, practically, so you want to get the band back together, and, you know, maybe that's been informed by the conversations I've been having around the Jabba's Palace escape and whatnot, but then getting them not only back together, but then on one last adventure that would finally defeat the Empire once and for all. But really, I'm just feeling joyful about the stories as I'm reading them. Like, going through it, it's just making me realize that Return of the Jedi is just a very happy movie for the most part, even with all of its drama and all of its, you know, tragedy that happens within the context of some of the battles. Like, there's just a joy for everything that goes on in it. This short story collection, as well as really the whole notion of going back and reconsidering Return of the Jedi in the wake of its 40th anniversary, you know, at some point, if you would have asked me to rate my original trilogy favorites, Empire would have been at the top, and then it would have been Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. And I'm as surprised as anyone to tell you that Return of the Jedi is now kind of bumped up and replaced the original Star Wars for me. And things like this From a Certain Point of View collection are kind of reinforcing that notion for me. It is really rich, and yeah, it's given me all the feels, basically. So I'm very excited for you to be able to check it out, and we will talk about it in more spoilery detail once we get past the release date. But for now, that's what I've got for you for today's podcast. And it just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you, wherever in the world you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.